Live from Utah's first TV station, Good Morning Utah at 6:30 starts now.
Good morning, Utah. I'm Sarah Martin.
And I'm Brian Carlson. The time, 6:30 on this Monday.
It was a deadly weekend in Utah's outdoors. A 16-year-old boy is presumed drowned at Pineview Reservoir. This happened yesterday. This is the fourth drowning there since just May. ABC4's Jared Jetney is live with details on the search for that boy's body. Jared.
We're at the middle inlet area of Pineview Reservoir, and as the sun starts to rise, Weber County dive team here, we're kind of at the staging area, will begin efforts this morning to help locate that boy's body. Efforts stopped yesterday evening because it just simply got too dark out here. Now, this video is from efforts yesterday. Officials say the call came in around 6 p.m. The 16-year-old was out here with 3 other teenage friends. The teen's friends tell deputies that the boy had tried to swim across the reservoir but decided he couldn't, so he turned around to come back but started to struggle. The friends tried to help him, but they were unable to, and the 16-year-old ultimately went under and never resurfaced. Officials say none of the boys were wearing life jackets.
It's much more stern of a message this time. If you are going to come and recreate, bring the proper equipment and recreate safely and enjoy your afternoon on the lake and go home.
Weber County officials tell us they are prepared to be out here as long as it takes until they find that boy's body. And it's challenging right now because the water is only about 8 to 10 feet deep because of the drought, so it's making it challenging for them to help find that boy. Live, Jared Jetney, ABC4 News.
All right, thank you, Jared. A man to be engaged, be married, fell to his death at Bridalveil Falls. Utah County deputies say 40-year-old Adrian Vanderklis first went missing on Saturday while hiking with his fiance's 9-year-old son. The boy came down the mountain on his own. It was later that deputies learned that Vanderklis had fallen to his death. They recovered his body the next morning. They say he fell while climbing the falls and died on impact. Deputies say it's a tragic reminder to not hike beyond your own experience level, especially on steep terrain.
It's a lot harder getting down than it looked like it was going to be when they were going up, and then they're stuck. Sometimes when people continue trying to get back down, that's when they run into trouble.
Now, deputies say the boy did not see Vanderklis fall to his death.
2 people were killed in a pair of crashes on I-80 near the Utah-Wyoming border. Emergency crews responded to a crash in the early afternoon yesterday, but then minutes later, a second crash demanded their attention just a half a mile away. Between those 2 crashes, 1 person died at the scene. Another died after being taken to the hospital. 5 other people were taken to the hospital with injuries ranging from serious to critical.
And sheriff's deputies in Tooele County need your help to find a man who's now been missing for nearly a month. Yesterday, deputies used drones to look for 32-year-old Rick Morris from Tooele. Using that equipment, they couldn't find him. Morris, described as 6'1", white man, black hair, hazel eyes, weighing about 150 pounds. Deputies say Morris has diabetes and went missing without taking his medication. He was last seen at the corner of 770 West, 7th South there in Tooele. He was wearing blue jeans, black tennis shoes at the time. If you have any information, contact the Tooele County Sheriff's Office. Their number is on your screen. Meanwhile, Rick's father is asking for anyone who may have surveillance footage of that area to send it to police.
Right now, the search area is so huge. Tooele County is 49,000 square miles. How do you cover 49,000 square miles with only a handful of people? We'd like to see more people involved, and again, the videos, the cameras, that's going to give us a better location as to where he may be.
Now, we'll have more information on this story and the search for Rick Morris coming up on ABC4 News at 5 in tonight's Missing in Utah. For now, let's check your weather here on the 4's. Meteorologist Cesar Cornejo back with us here this morning. How's our Monday morning looking, Cesar?
Well, Brian, we can expect to see that it's a little bit on the cloudier side to start off Monday morning, but as we take a look right now here in Utah Lake, mostly over towards the higher elevation. Looking at the Oakers, we can expect to see cloud cover really hanging around for us, even parts of the Stansberries, where we expect to see a little bit more moisture making its way in, and that's why we have this flash flood watch. It's going to be starting at noon, and it'll last until midnight. Of course, the showers and storms that are going to be associated with the rain that we are going to see today can be slow movers. So when they start pouring down, it'll be over the same area for quite a while. we expect to also see that so far right now, moisture is still wrapping around parts of this high pressure system, bringing in that cloud cover and shower activity that we see when we look outside the webcams and on radar. But so far for the moment, we expect to see that temperatures will also remain very mild for us for the next few hours. By the time we get to 7, 8 a.m., we start to get back into the 80s. Even though we have plenty of cloud cover, it's just going to be all of that warm southerly air making its way in, bringing in that heat for us. And we continue to see that there are two incidents so far right now around I-15 in the Wasatch Front. Taking a look at one of them here so far right now, it is causing 2 lanes to be blocked at the moment, so that is something to keep in mind. Of course, we do have a little bit of congestion due to that, so keep that in mind as we make our way through this Monday morning. Over to you, Sarah.
Now to Utah's housing market and building your dream home. This morning we continue our summer series on the Utah Housing Crunch. Interviews with the experts live every Monday through the rest of the summer. Today we're talking new construction. Houses flying off the market an average of 6 days here in Utah. Developers and individual builders can't get homes off the ground fast enough, but they're facing some major material delays for everything from lumber to wiring. Joining me to talk about what that high demand feels like on the ground, Austri Ecker, marketing manager for Sage Homes. Austri, thanks so much for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so at this point, we've talked to kind of realtors, we've talked about the rental market. I'm really excited to talk about the building market. With Sage Homes, can you talk to me about, can we start with how many clients are you working with right now? Is that number dramatically larger than you've seen in years past?
Sage Homes currently has more than 100 buyers. It's difficult to say whether or not the pandemic has really impacted that number. But we're currently going through, obviously, a lot of exciting things. We've more than tripled our homes under construction over the last few years and have experienced that along with all of the excitement that's been going on around us. Luckily, we do have an educated team and really incredible trade partners who have been able to help us navigate what's really uncharted waters for any builder right now.
Right, so interesting. So can we talk about that demand shortage? I mean, that's one thing that's definitely made headlines. How is that pushing back your guys' timelines?
Our ability to get the materials and the laborers that we require in order to build in our projected timeline has been a little bit difficult. And that's something that we aren't letting hold us back. Again, we do have incredible trade partners and they're doing everything that they can to help. Like other builders, we have seen price increases and material shortages, and that's something that we're working through, and we aren't going to let that stop us from doing what we love and building beautiful homes for our incredible buyers.
For a client who maybe begins the process today, how long can they expect before they're moving in?
Our current build time is about 10 to 12 months, which is only slightly longer than what we have been doing. Again, with those material shortages, it has been difficult to get the laborers and materials that we need to build in our projected timelines. It's got
to feel a little bit like the perfect storm. You know, lots of people want to come, you need more homes, but then it's more challenging to get those materials and maybe more costly for you and for the buyer. Can we talk about how I mean, these homes are going so fast. I mean, for a home that's already built, it's only on the market for about 6 days. What is it like for buyers to kind of find a builder that suits them and their timeline? What do you recommend for people as they're looking for a builder and looking for a lot that suits their needs?
Finding the perfect builder and the perfect lot, something that's really going to vary from person to person. A couple of the things that we recommend people look at is the lot size that they want, applicable commute times, how much garage space they'll need, and the quality of products that are going in their home. At Sage Homes, we truly care about each of our buyers, and we want to build them a home that's built to love and built to last.
Awesome, perfect. When somebody comes into maybe your showroom, what questions do you recommend they ask? I feel like this is, for a first-time builder, maybe an intimidating process.
Absolutely. I believe that one of the best things that every buyer should ask is, like I mentioned, the quality of products that are going in your home. It's important to know what comes included and what you're going to be paying for to upgrade.
Interesting. Okay, we only have a couple of seconds, but I'm curious about financing, the difference between financing when you're building versus buying something that's already built. Any recommendations there?
It really is relatively the same process. In both instances, buyers are required to pre-qualify. I would say that the main difference between buying a new construction home and buying an existing home is that along with your earnest money deposit, you will also be putting down a construction deposit, which really just solidifies the buyer's intent to obtain long-term financing.
Got it. Interesting. Okay. Austria, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Yes,
so
thank
interesting.
you.
We'll have links to more of this information on our website at abc4.com/GMU. And don't forget to stick with us all summer long for more on the Utah Housing Crunch here in Utah. Live interviews every Monday morning. All right, Brian, back to you.
Thank you, Sarah. The time now 6:39. Coming up on GMU, helping high school students recover from concussions. See which school district is the first to adopt a program from Utah doctors intended for the classroom. Plus, relief from rising gas prices. See what's driving down costs in your Good Morning Utah business report. But don't forget, staying informed has never been easier. ABC4 News is there for you. For breaking and local live streaming news, just download the ABC4 News app. All you do is scan the QR code on your screen. But first, here's your first look at Good Morning America.
In this morning's GMA First Look, counting down to Blue Origin's blast off. We're just one day away from billionaire Jeff Bezos rocketing into space, and he'll be surrounded by a crew straight out of a Hollywood movie. Joining him on the New Shepard rocket, his brother Mark Bezos, a genius teenager, Oliver Damon, who will become the youngest person to travel to space.
Oliver, welcome. Welcome.
And of course, the legendary Wally Funk.
We're going to fly you up into space on the very first flight.
At age 82, Funk will be the oldest person in space, fulfilling the journey she started over 60 years ago as part of the Mercury 13 Women in Space program. And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll show you the last-minute preparations from Mission Command. And Michael Strahan interviews all 4 members of the crew. With your GMA First Look, I'm Monaco Sarabdi, ABC News.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Cesar Carnejo, weather rate certified 10 years in a row.
6:44. Welcome back, Utah. Time for Weather on the 4s with meteorologist Cesar Cornejo. Cesar, it was warm when I got out of my car to get into the station this morning.
Yeah, Sarah, we're still seeing plenty of warm temperatures out there, with something we expect with these southerly winds. And also on top of that, we expect to see moisture increase. So it is monsoon season. We expect to see some afternoon and evening shower activity. But where exactly are we going to see that? We'll see, of course, that it's a little bit more widespread for us. We do expect to see that smoky skies are here again, but because of the moisture and hopefully the rain, we are going to see that our air quality does improve. We have the possibility for some flooding concerns, so I'll have more on that in just a moment. And then, of course, it's going to be a very monsoon-style week, especially for southern Utah, where we'll take a look at just a moment at our 7-day forecast. So far right now in St. George, seeing plenty of cloud cover hanging around here through our Dixie Tech camera. And that's one telling sign. We expect to see that our atmosphere has the ingredients already in place to see some shower and thunderstorm activity for us, and even storm tracker radar still picking up on the signs of some rain, mostly for the higher elevation in southern Utah, also for parts of western Utah. And you can already see that some thunderstorms are starting to pop up over in eastern Nevada. Again, we see that this is very continuous for us. We'll expect to see also that smoke is still prevalent for the area, but because of the cloud cover, it's not very visible. It's still a little bit on the moderate side, so just remember that air quality is not the best. As we step outside the door for the next few hours in Salt Lake City, we're expecting to see temperatures slowly increase for us, but by the time we get towards lunch, we can start to see a few storms starting to pop up for us, and it's going to be a very cloudy kind of afternoon. We do have the general threat for thunderstorms, so some spotty showers, of course, that could put down some heavy rains, lightning, small hail, and gusty erratic winds. That's why we do have this flash flood watch in for quite a few areas here around central and the southern Wasatch Front and central Utah. Starts at noon, lasts until midnight. Looking at southern Utah for a flash flood potential, it's mostly going to be really around south central Utah, so just keep that in mind. But we could possibly see that with any of these showers that do start to pop up. And by the afternoon time frame, we'll see that shower activity really does increase, really starts to pick up towards the later afternoon hours and even towards the evening. So keep that in mind, especially for our evening commute. And as we go into the overnight hours, we'll expect to see that it's calmer, but then Tuesday we start to see stuff popping up again, showers and thunderstorms possible, mostly for the higher elevation in eastern Utah. Southern Utah, we will still get some love there, but other than that, that's something that continues to kind of just cycle for us throughout the rest of this work week. Regional forecast, we're expecting to see temperatures ranging around the 90s for a few areas, and even though we'll be in the 90s in St. George, we'll be slightly below average for the next few days with shower activity hanging around every afternoon. Wasatch Front, we'll expect to see temperatures also around the upper 90s and maybe one 100-degree day for us here on Wednesday, but chances of showers still possible for us. Looking at the Wasatch Front traffic, we're going to go to an incident here. It is causing a bit of a slowdown, some delays going so far right now on I-15 southbound. 2 lanes are blocked, and as we look at another incident so far right now, a little bit of congestion also on this Monday morning. And of course, if you want to make sure that you stay up to date with traffic news and more weather, turn over to the CW30 at 7 a.m. with us.
Some doctors here in Utah are developing a new roadmap to help high school student athletes recovering from concussions. Head injuries, like a concussion in high school football games, obviously a concern there on the field. But how does it affect student athletes afterwards in the classroom? Intermountain Healthcare now teaming up with the Alpine School District to launch what they call a Return to Learn program for students suffering from concussions. To join me now to explain, Dr. Darren Campbell, a sports medicine expert. He's a physician there at Intermountain Healthcare. Dr. Campbell, thanks for being with us here today.
Brian, you bet. It's good to be here.
It feels like concussions are getting a lot more attention in sports these days.
Well, concussions have been an issue, I think, for a while, but they've gained more and more attention really because we're changing the way we take care of them. We're starting to have more of an active approach. No longer do we just sit in a room and wait for days to feel better before we go back to doing things. And so there's been a change in the focus because we can do more.
And I think I don't know how much people realize how much schools and doctors are thinking about concussions for high school student athletes.
Well, for student athletes in high school and younger, it's a big deal because so much of their life revolves around school. And so we focused on return to play in the past, trying to keep them safe as they return back to a sport where they could get hit in the head again. But what we really haven't focused on is what do we need to do in the classroom to return them back to that classroom work, return them back to really their regular lives. That may be a more important piece.
Yeah, I'm sure the coaches and obviously the players love to have their player who suffered a concussion back in the field, but for them, this everyday life involves school and the learning there for them.
And I think we leave out a large number of students. We focus on those athletes that have this happen in sports. What we find in our concussion clinic is there's more people who have concussions in regular life, not just in sports. So for them, school is really their life.
So this applies to them as well.
This applies to everyone.
So what does the program do? How do you track their progress and get them back to class after a concussion?
Well, it's a delicate process and changes even sometimes day to day, but it's a progression. You work through what they can do, add in different accommodations. So, for example, if someone has quite a bit of visual symptoms, you can teach them with more lectures and things they can listen to. Lots of different adjustments to help them get through the material and not get so far behind or have such a big hole to fill of the stuff that they've missed.
And so how do you monitor their progress as they go from stage to stage here?
That's really what's so important about what's just happened recently. As we've been doing that as a medical team, and we're not in the classroom, so we can't change according to those nuances of what they're doing. So what we were hoping for was a partnership with the school districts to let those professional educators make those changes, because they're with those students every day. They can see how they're handling each day, their class load, and make adjustments.
And so you have teachers in the Alpine School District, obviously the first to be able to implement this there in their district. So they're the ones who are looking at those students and kind of monitoring their progress.
Yes, and so that's an important partnership, and it was a great step for them to take to say, we'll own this because we're professional educators. We'll partner with you, you manage them medically, and we'll help with this lane that we're taking care of. And it really fits with our multi-specialty approach. They're part of that treatment team in that respect, and it gives them the power and the tools to do so, which is a change. It really hasn't been done, and so what a great step by Alpine School District.
Yeah, so if you're a parent out there, you're thinking, okay, maybe I'd like to get my kids some information on this or look more into it. How do they connect with the Intermountain Healthcare to find out about this program?
So they can connect with us at our Utah Valley Sports Medicine Clinic and Concussion Clinic. We can make available some Intermountain contact information.
And of course, if you want to learn more about Return to Learn, we'll have that on our website as well, abc4.com/GMU. Talking this morning here with Dr. Darren Campbell. He's a doctor of sports medicine there at Intermountain Healthcare. Dr. Campbell, thanks for being with us again.
You bet. You bet. Thanks.
All right, business news now. Oil prices are starting to go down, and the video conferencing app Zoom is expanding. Here's your Good Morning Utah business report.
Oil prices easing a bit as OPEC and its oil-producing allies, led by Russia, agree to start pumping more oil, which could lead to lower gas prices. Brent crude falling about 5% in recent days on hopes of an agreement. Oil and gasoline prices have been shooting up amid rising demand as economies recover from the pandemic. And Zoom, the video conferencing giant, is expanding. It's agreed to a deal worth more than $14.5 billion to acquire Five9, which provides software for cloud-based customer service call centers. Plus, with supply chains still unpredictable around the world, bidding on jobs is becoming a bit of a gamble. The Wall Street Journal says construction companies and manufacturers are being hammered by fast rising prices for raw materials, which can cut all the profit out in the delay between bidding and the work actually starting. And another shortage cropping up: foam used in things like furniture cushions, mattresses, and appliances. It started with the deep freeze in February that knocked out Texas plants that make the main chemical in foam. They are still working to recover. That's your Good Morning Utah business report.
The time now is 6:53, and 2 teams of Utah firefighters are now on wildfire duty in Oregon. A total of 57 firefighters from 9 Utah fire agencies left Utah yesterday to battle massive wildfires in Oregon for the next 2 weeks. We're told they've arrived safely in Bend, Oregon, and will get their orders this morning.
We want them to do the very best work they can do while they're deployed, and then to come home safely. That is really the best thing that they can do once their deployment is done, is come back and return to do great work for Utah.
Now, Utah is part of an emergency management assistance compact where states coordinate between each other in emergencies like wildfires.
All right, one last look at our weather. Is there any good news for wildfire fighters this week?
Well, yes, we can actually expect to see some shower activity as we get more monsoonal moisture. That'll help actually wet some of the soils, so hopefully that should slow down any kind of wildfire activity. We expect to see Utah Lake, look at that, beautiful day so far. A few clouds hanging around, but that's something we expect to see, especially given the fact that we have this flash flood watch that starts at noon today, lasts until midnight, and it's going to encompass all of Utah County, a lot of the Wasatch Plateau, also parts of the southern Wasatch Mountains. So that's something to keep in mind, as we do expect to see these showers be slow movers and put down quite a bit of rain. Looking at storm tracker radar so far right now, most of the shower activity and thunderstorms are over towards eastern Nevada or in southern Utah around the mountainous areas, but other than that, this is a telling sign. We expect to see plenty of shower activity making its way in. We'll see showers possible for Salt Lake City, a high of 97, also in St. George, a high of 97, so we'll still be below average, and it's definitely on the muggy side as we have dew points still hovering around the 60s for us in southern Utah. Looking at Wasatch traffic so far right now, we do have a few incidents so far, so that is something to keep in mind. We expect to see some of them starting to slow us down on our morning commutes. Taking a quick look at one of them, we can expect to see that it is slowing us down, as we do have a blockage so far right now on I-15, so keep that in mind. And if you want to stay ahead of any kind of inclement weather, or if there are any warnings or watches being put in place, download the Pinpoint Weather app on your smart device using the QR codes on the screen or through your app store.
All right, thank you, Caesar. It's baby birthday time, and this is Ian. Ian turns 20 today.
So cute.
Oh, look at that. He's happy, isn't he? His family says, why, he has got a good reason. He's engaged to a sweet young woman.
Aww.
He's a young entrepreneur owning his own business at a young age. He's also a very hard worker. His mom and dad are really proud of him. And what's always funny is, like, he's not this age anymore. Again, he's turning 20 today. So happy birthday to you, Ian. Love the photo.
So cool. Yep. Happy birthday, Ian. Very cool.
Now, remember, we want to celebrate your birthday, you, your kids, your grandkids. So send us their photo. Email it to news@abc4.com and put in the subject line, baby birthday.
All right. 46 years later, a mystery is solved. People have been trying to figure out what Bruce Springsteen was saying in his famous song, Thunder Road, and now we know definitively.
Okay.
So the song Thunder Road, it starts, the screen door slams, Mary's dress waves was the original wordage that was like printed in the album stuff. But now his manager is saying, nope, it's Mary's dress sways. And he's been singing it like that for years.
I guess people were taking issue with the fact that it doesn't rhyme so well with some of the other lyrics.
Right.
Okay.
I guess if
now
you're,
you know.
Yeah, if you're a stickler for rhyming words, why not, right?
Exactly.
Well, how many times
you
do you sing a song?
When you're singing along to the boss, you got to be right. You got to get it right.
I don't think we all get it right, that's for sure. Thanks for making us part of your morning.
More local news coming up on Utah's CW30.